Alrighty then. Well, being a fan of old school horror movies and creature features, I had to revisit one of the movies I remembered from my childhood, and it just so happens that I'm an unbelievable reptile nerd who absolutely loves anything to do with reptiles. This movie was right up my alley to take a look at and revisit. The movie's called Alligator from 1980, and it centers around a giant alligator in the sewers type situation. And there's actually a pretty amazing main actor cop who has to investigate and figure out all the idiosyncrasies of what's going on with this case. And he's actually really admirable in his fight against these things. It's pretty sweet, actually. And it's your typical story of an alligator gets blown up at the end by a dynamite. Uh, and the beginning of the movie, it's flushed down the toilet and becomes a monster. But I think along the ways, these old school type of movies certainly have a different way about them. Is that this is actually thoroughly well produced and made movie, and some of the characters are really great in it. And there's a whole cast of people and things that you meet along the way that are kind of interesting. And another thing about the movie is that it has some truly grotesque scenes in it. And they use a lot of real animals, which is always admirable, and has a cool story of kind of like the soldiers fighting this giant alligator and it beating them at every turn. It's a classic type of story. But and then another thing about it is it has some fucking hilarious scenes in it. Like, how about this scene where a little kid gets eaten by a fucking alligator? Like, how did that pass ratings? Where this group, it's brutal. There's blood and shit everywhere. It's fucking hilarious. And utterly beautiful main chick actor in this movie that's pretty grand as well to have a look at. You know, the main actor is just such a Chad. He's a great actor, and he's a really likable character compared to some of the other idiots in this movie. But there's one random scene where a fucking guy walks in with a suicide bomb, and he gets disarmed. You know, it's just like these older school movies. They always threw all kinds of these random shit at you that you never know what to expect.
Yeah, well, what do you need me for?
What does anybody need anybody for? You're the country's leading herpetologist. You have a wonderful mind, a doctorate degree, and beautiful tits.
And how about that fucking line? I mean, amen to that, brother. That's all you need in this world. World's leading herpetologist and a great set of tits. But yeah, some of the scenes are grotesque as all balls in this. Like the fucking guy getting eaten by the alligator in the back alley. While a bunch of guys try and like save him. Uh, Watching some of these scenes, I mean, it's really good. Some of the effects that they have in this, I was quite surprised watching this as like while I was a kid watching this. I can't believe I was allowed to watch this as like a child, but you know, they use real animals and they to a good effect. I mean, there's this certain phobia around reptiles that people have always gotten. That they're monsters, right? And in many ways they are because alligators and crocodiles kill people. So it's easy to translate them into a movie monster, where this is a realistic monster that exists in our real world today. And you know, some other scenes are really terrifying. I mean, the thought of an alligator being in a sewer and it being a real thing is a truly terrifying feat, and is could theoretically be possible. Now, it's like when the herpetologist chick says it's highly unlikely because of no food down there and all the chemicals. But I mean, it's a tale as old as time, the alligator in the sewer type motif, and it really plays into that deep human fear of the unknown and what's lurking below our feet. Old school 80s horror certainly has a place in the hearts and minds of people, especially creature features. and featuring with some giant reptiles, you just can't go wrong. Really, really has like this effect on people that people who are terrified of reptiles are the type of people who are gonna really enjoy these types of things. And even today, look at the Lake Placid type movies, and crocodiles, and there's a deep ingrained fear of reptiles, this cold-blooded killing instinct that these creatures possess and can be very much attested to. They're heartless killing machines, and that's kind of what this movie plays into, and so many movies do play into. I mean, reptiles are brutal, brutal creatures. And how about this weird ass dude too, who's hitting on every woman? He's quite the character too, and I don't know, just funny random '80s horror movies. Good watch, good fun. There's almost limitless amount of them out there, but '80s really had a specific feel to it, and it's amazing watching these movies. I mean, these movies is almost 50 years old at this point. Going back and watching it, it's a capsule into time and a capsule into people's minds back there. Same, and it also has the Godfather dude. Yeah, check it out.